evening, everyone, and welcome to the national presentation of Tell America, the American Veteran. Tonight, Tell America spotlights Indiana Chapter 259 of Central Indiana. It's Commander Tyne Martin and two of its very special veterans, Tom Gill and Melvin Butler. Tell America is honored to present to you this very special chapter of the Korean War Veterans Association and what they do to make a difference in the lives of their veterans and the community of Indianapolis, Indiana. Here to introduce you to their Commander Tyne Martin is Corporal Dale Parrish. Dale?
Thank you, Jim. And in turn, I'd like to welcome Commander Martin.
Thank you, Dale.
To the Tell America program, and congratulations on the job that you're doing in Chapter 259 in Indianapolis.
Great chapter.
First, let's start off by telling our viewers when you entered the service and where all your travels took you.
I got drafted when I was 21 years old. My birthday was on May 28th, and I left June the 1st and went to Fort Custer, Michigan, and replacement, and then went to Fort Riley, Kansas. Had to fight a flood out there instead of taking basic training biggest part of the time. Then they flew us to artillery school down in Fort Bliss, Texas, and went there for 8 weeks of artillery school, and then my number come up to go to Korea, and left about 110 degrees, and it was about 20 above zero when I got into Korea.
Yeah.
In October of 1951.
51. Mm-hmm. Commander Martin, Tell America is aware of the great job you're doing in community service. Tell our viewers why you made this a priority in your chapter.
Well, why not? There are brothers that we have in, most of our money is spent at 10th Street, Richard Raudebush Veterans Hospital in Indianapolis. We've, about every 2 or 3 months, our officers and our ladies take bags of socks, T-shirts, hats, and toiletries and present them to, we try to get them to the new trauma center, which is some of the kids that's just coming back from Iraq. But there's a lot of World War II veterans and Vietnam veterans that we bring them down to the trauma unit, but they're our brothers, and that's who we're serving.
That sounds real great.
Lieutenant Gill was brought a great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Lieutenant Gill, it's an honor to have you here with us tonight on Tell America.
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here.
Tell us about this citation.
Well, that was, it stands out in my mind. I think about it quite a bit because it was right across from Antung where the MiGs were launched, and I think it was the biggest air base that the communists had. And it took 50 missions to become part of either of these two flights. That's 8 airplanes, 4 airplanes to a flight. And you had to have that experience to go in. And I recall the mentions the rain on the letdown of breaking out of that rain, and we were probably at about 500 feet, and the roads were just full of people on bicycles right underneath of us. And we were heading in, and we actually were carrying 2 1,000-pound bombs, 2 1,000-pound bombs, and we did it horizontally and went in. And that's the one and only time I ever saw things higher than I was for the flight ahead of us. And we went in, and the results were 40 boxcars, and there were 3 secondary explosions from this mission. But we had to get out of there also after it was over, because you would get to see the aircraft right across the Yalu River at Antung there. So we had to make a hard right turn not to go any closer to them and go out over the water, which is out over the Yellow Sea, and stay low for a while. Fortunately, the F-84 carried quite a sizable amount of fuel, and it was made the flight a lot easier because we weren't always critical on fuel. And we returned and with all the airplanes, and it was a success.
How was it to compensate the mountains that you were flying for?
Well, this is closer to the river, and it's kind of away from the mountains. We let down over previous to that. But the rain kind of, it made a cover for us, actually, because they didn't have any idea we were there. But, of course, any of the MiGs that scrambled, why, they were pretty much after us, but we had air cover, which is, there's actually two jobs the Air Force has. One is air-to-air combat, which the F-86 covered in Korea, and the F-84 did the air-to-ground. And we did all the close support for the Army because they didn't have helicopters or didn't have any close support Air Force for them. So